Admiral Blake, it's me, Raven. I'm doing a very spur of the moment. I can do some stream. I can't do a long stream, but I can do some stream tonight. So we're doing that. And before I transition, thank you, Mask. What the heck are you doing? On this random, just extra stream from Raven, you do this? Huh. But thank you for the resub. And yes, drop your money, frogs. Thank you very much, Mask. Thank you. Alright. We are doing some creepypasta because that was next in the row. And we had one where I was like, if the next one is very short, I will read it. But then it was a little bit long. We'll read that one first off. And yeah, this stream I'm gonna stream until it's unreasonable for me to stream. It's not gonna be very long, but it'll be something. It won't be super short, but it'll be a little stream. Because I can. And I felt like saying hi to all you lovely peoples that I miss. Because I couldn't stream yesterday, and I couldn't stream earlier today. Fett, you said you had a pretty good day today, very productive. I'm glad to hear it. I stopped in on Cage's stream just before I started streaming, and he said he got lots done, and he did some good stuffs. Looks very nice. If you're here, and you're up right now, well, you could have been over in Cage's stream. I hope you were. I hope you checked it out at least a little bit. Okay. Yeah. Cage Nightwind. I will specify for those of you that are like, what the heck are you talking about? I think the 4 of you here know who I'm talking about, though. But for if you're watching on YouTube, and this is many, many times later than the current. Yeah, there you go. One of our lovely mods. Yeah, okay, so we're gonna do Creepypasta, continuing in our Spooktober. And tomorrow we'll be back to SCP, and then we'll do Creepypasta again, because I'm gonna do Wednesday for the extra stream because I didn't do it earlier. I want to keep at least my 3 streams in a week. If I have to scoot it around, then I have to scoot it around. I'm doing my best to at least have the 3. So yeah, there you go. We're gonna do the creepypastas. Alright, let me get the things all lined up. You say mlem? You say mlem? Mlem. I figured it out. I did a tongue thing. It took me a minute, but I did it. Welcome in, Pazuzu. Alright, what was I doing? Oh yes, oh yes, oh yes, oh yes. I have to do this. Okay, what was that? Oh, yes. Okay, so this one has an interesting title. It is, did you check the box? What are we talking about? What is this gonna be? But alright. Did you check the box? Oh wait, no. Raven, there's supposed to be a question mark. Bam. Nope, not there. Did you check the box? Oh goodness. Okay, there you go. But that's our first story that we're gonna start out with. Random creepypastas. Ooh, this one has a very different font. I'm intrigued. It is small. I might have trouble reading. But we're gonna go for it. We're gonna go for it. Alright. Let's settle in. I hope you guys are getting cozy. I'm gonna get hydrated. And we'll read. Hey, I just gave you a call out. I think you probably missed it, but I said Cage is streaming and you guys should go check him out. But now you're all rubbed out. I meant like you should check him out for the October art streams. But yeah, now you're here and you're gonna check in and then you're gonna go to bed because you need to eat, which is good. And if you want to watch this, you can watch it another time from my YouTube channel. It's very useful that way. Alright. But yes, did you check the box? Here we go. In a dilapidated house at the edge of a small, quiet town where the shadows danced and the wind whispered secrets was what was supposed to be my wife and I's paradise. Our once grand home now stood as a decrepit monument to the restless march of time, haunted by the echoes of a life long forgotten. But the true horror in my heart lay not in the crumbling walls, but in the shattered fragments of memories that tormented my every waking moment. Dun, dun, dun. Yeah. Yeah, you're gonna check in, but then you're gonna go sleep. Yeah, I'm glad you had a good chat with her. I hope you make the good friends. Okay. My wife Maddie was a prisoner of her own mind, ensnared by the cruel tendrils of Alzheimer's disease. Each day was a descent into madness for me as I watched helplessly while the woman I loved slipped further and further away. The walls of our home bore witness to the horrors that unfolded within, the air thick with the scent of decay and despair. As night fell, I would often find myself wandering the darkened halls, my footsteps echoing like the tolling of a funeral bell. In the shadows, I would catch glimpses of my wife, her eyes vacant and hollow, a mere shell of the vibrant woman she once was. But it was not the sight of her vacant stare that chilled me to the bone, nor the sound of her whispered gibberish that sent shivers down my spine. No, it was the sense of dread that hung heavy in the air, the feeling that something sinister lurked just beyond the edge of her perception. So in case you couldn't tell, nights were the worst. Hi, Andy! That's when the darkness seemed to seep into our very souls, twisting our thoughts and filling me with an irrational fear. I'd find myself lying awake for hours on end, listening to the creaking of the floorboards and the howling of the wind, my mind awash with images of horrors both real and imagined. In those moments, I could almost feel the weight of Maddie's presence beside me, her frail form a constant reminder of the nightmare we were entrapped in. But it was not only the physical manifestations of Maddie's illness that tormented me. It was the memories of their life together, now tarnished by the cruel hand of fate. I would find myself lost in reverie, reliving moments of joy and tenderness, only to have them ripped away by the harsh reality of the present. The photographs that adorned the walls served as cruel reminders of what once was, our once smiling faces a mockery of the tragedy that had befallen them. And so, at least on my end, I lived in a permanent state of terror. My mind was a battleground where the forces of light and darkness waged an eternal war. I selfishly longed for the release from the nightmare that had become our lives, yet feared what lay beyond the confines of our crumbling sanctuary. For in the darkness lurked horrors far worse than any imaginable. And so we remained trapped in a prison of her own making, haunted by the echoes of not only the forgotten, but the remembered, which can prove to be far worse. And then it breaks, and I will say, well, it looks like the kind of spooky story we've got now is just very sad. Oh boy. Brace yourselves. Okay. It picks back up with somebody saying something. Here we go. Just 11 short days until our anniversary, dear heart. I glanced at the calendar to my left. Not even close. We got married in the spring and are currently approaching the middle of fall. Still, it doesn't do much good to correct her. She only gets upset when I do that. I mean, we're all getting older. You never wake up younger than you were the day before, that's for sure. Memories become harder to hold on to. Your brain becomes a colander for memories, and the holes get larger every year, or hell, even every month sometimes, the older you get. So I nodded and smiled without a word, said, what else was there to do? Maddie had been by my side through everything, the loss of a child, car accidents, surgeries, and the death of our own parents. We'd been together for over 40 years, soon to be 50, God willing. I've been on this earth long enough to know that what you get robbed of with age. At least she recognizes who I am today. If I keep calm and patient, this could very well turn into one of her good days. It had started with small things, and she wasn't exactly organized to begin with. It wasn't uncommon at all for her to misplace her keys or search for her glasses for ages before realizing they were on top of her head. The kids caught it long before I did. Then again, you never want to believe the worst about the person who holds your heart, now do you? Besides, Lord knows I had my own health issues to deal with. I'd been sicker than a dog left out in the rain for the past few months. Doctors couldn't figure out what the hell was wrong with me. My two largest fears constantly waged battle in my brain. If she went first, I'd be beyond devastated. The only thing I could think of that would be worse is if I died first. Of course, there was an absolute certainty that one of those things would happen. There was no lesser of the two evils. Both outcomes left us dealing with a labyrinth of pain and suffering too large for us to deal with. I looked at my wife sitting at the kitchen table and found myself painfully wondering if she would even realize I was gone. The Keurig machine our daughter Alma bought for us finally gurgled to a stop, breaking me from my inner diatribe long enough to prepare 2 cups. The creamer bubbled lightly at the top of the cup before diving to the bottom, begging for a good stir. I filled the spoon up with sugar before dropping it into her cup. Yeah, I imagine the sugar isn't great for her, but at this age, who fucking cares? She's already been my sweetheart, and I aim to keep her that way. I carried the cups to our kitchen table, wincing as some of the morning's liquid sloshed over my cup onto my hand. As long as it wasn't hers, it's okay, I thought to myself gently. People often ask what the secret to a long, healthy marriage is, and I give the same answer every time. Always think of them first and with love. Of course, it helped that we didn't have social media where sex is available at the click of a button sometimes. Maddie gratefully accepted her cup, smiling at me. I've always adored her smile. It melts my heart even after all these decades. She cleared her throat lightly before attempting to speak. This is delicious, just what I needed. Thank you so much, Daniel. My heart froze for more than a few seconds before plummeting into the pit of my stomach. I hadn't heard that name in years, and I was hoping never to hear it uttered in our home again. Daniel Williamson had proven to be the largest challenge of our marriage. Daniel Williamson was the man who almost broke my family apart 20 years ago, almost made it to where I'd be sitting here alone today. Daniel was the man whose affections were too strong for my wife to resist. Ooh, we get into the drama. I'll point out, this isn't someone that was from before they were together. They're together over 40 years, and this was 20 years ago. Okay. It began innocently, a fleeting glance exchanged between them here and there, like a spark igniting a wildfire. Soon, clandestine meetings in dimly lit cafes became the norm, whispers of forbidden desires echoing around the hollow chambers of our dark bedroom. As hard as it was to admit, I felt a creeping sense of unease, like a cold hand trailing down my spine in the dead of night. Shadows danced in the orbs of her once warm and inviting eyes, casting doubts upon the love we once held so dear. As the affair spiraled out of control along with my paranoia, I found my soul ensnared in a web of lies and deceit, each thread pulling us deeper into the abyss of despair. My once vibrant spirit withered like a flower deprived of sunlight, replaced by a hollow emptiness that echoed through the halls of our strained, distrusting home. One fateful night, when my suspicions reached a boiling point, I confronted my wife in a whirlwind of confusion and anguish. At first, she tried to deny it, but in the dim glow of the moonlight, her confession ultimately hung heavy in the air like a noose around her neck, tightening with each word of utter betrayal. She began to walk toward me, her footsteps echoing in the silence of the night like a mournful dirge. Shadows danced around her, whispering secrets of old infidelity and deceit, their icy fingers tracing the contours of her broken heart. We'd decided to work it out and make it through this, not for our kids, but for us. It was one of the hardest periods of my life, and up until recently I had thought it was long behind us. She interrupted my thought process. Danny, promise me the box is okay. When's the last time you checked it? I truly didn't know what to say. Hello, Divod. Yes, it's different. Oh, Mask, I see you're back with food. I missed that. We did an extra shout out to thank you again, but welcome back with food. Yeah, we're just doing a quick short one, Divod. Right. Ooh, what new project, Mask? Oh, Divod, a 1. Oh, that sucks. A 1. Oh. Okay. Where was I go? Alright, I truly didn't know what to say. 10% Divod lies. Oh, come on. Get a better number with your Riz, please. I can't start reading until you get a better number with your Riz. Please. You've got me waiting. What's it gonna be, Divod? I'm so nervous. Oh, Fett rolled a nat 20. Oh, damn. Oh, that's great, Mask. I want to see it. Riz was... You already did Riz? Oh my gosh, it was. Divod, I'm so sorry. Oh my gosh. That's a lie too, Fett. Oh my gosh. Oh, and Fett got 78 too. Oh, nice. Fett got all the best numbers that we can get, and they're still icky. Oh, the bot's not being nice about the love. Oh. Fett, I'm drained. I owe you in that 20 scenario. Oh, okay. Well, I'm gonna get back to reading. Enjoy the bots. They lie about the love, I promise. Okay, so I didn't know what to say. She's calling him Danny, and he's not Danny. He's not Daniel. I think this is her saying it, but I can't totally tell. You know if Brody finds it, we're dead, right? This is the point where I'd shamefully had enough. Maddie, it's me. I'm Brody, and I certainly don't wish you any harm, dear. A startled look assaulted her eyes just long enough for me to notice before she shook it away. You're not Brody. You're proving it now by actually listening to me. He never did. Feelings, thoughts, opinions, he didn't want to hear any of it. Told me I'd make a terrible midwife. Oh, goodness. Brody, I thought you were nice, but now I'm concerned. She's saying you don't listen to her. Here we go, and this is why I'm really like, sir. Okay. Here we go. An argument settled decades ago, rearing its ugly head for a new round. It's Alzheimer's. You know the arguments will come back. Don't be sassy now, Brody. Maddie was young and bored, and like many other women presented with an empty nest during the hours her children were in school, she started binge-watching TV shows. Netflix featured a show called Call the Midwife. Maybe some of you have even seen it yourselves. Well, 6 seasons in, and all of a sudden, Maddie was convinced she'd found her calling, just like she did with cooking and jewelry making and crocheting and all the other phases of life she clung to. It's called hobbies and different interests, and you can change your job and your hobbies as much as you want. Fuck you, Brody. Well, I wasn't exactly the most supportive, and apparently she never forgave me for it. Well, yeah. Anyway. After ensuring she had what she needed for the moment, I went upstairs to gather laundry so she wouldn't have to worry about it. There was a good chance she wouldn't notice anyway, but why fix what's not broken? Laundry still needs to be done after all. I checked the kitchen camera and found her still sitting peacefully staring off into space. So I used that opportunity to fix up the bathroom and clean up in the event of any accidents that Maddie had. The sound I heard after closing the door to the upstairs bathroom wasn't one I'd ever heard before and hope to never hear again. Exactly, Max. When Maddie and I were younger, you don't even have to support it. You just have to not be unsupportive, you know? You don't... It sounds like what Brody did was Oh my god, a new thing? You're never gonna do it. You're the problem. You don't have to. You can be like, oh, cool, and just like disengage, and that's honestly that's enough. Okay, Maddie. When Maddie and I were younger, and the kids were kids, we could always tell who was coming up or down the stairs by the sound of the steps made. Torin was a clomper. That girl couldn't sneak up on anyone to save her soul. Mason took each one a foot at a time, so it was 2 clunks for each step, whereas Christopher ran, taking 2 or 3 steps at a time. This was none of the above. A frenzy of stomping footsteps ran up the stairs faster than anything I'd ever heard before, but that wasn't the only sound. A second set of footsteps audibly accompanied the first, only these made a dragging and pulling sound. You don't like Brody? Yeah, unreliable narrator. I don't know if I like him either. We'll see. Okay. I barely had time to open the door before Maddie planted herself before me. Oh, she scuffled up in a concerning sound. That's interesting. Okay. Sounds like you really upset her, sir. You done fucked up, Brody. Okay, so she's the one scuttled up. The look on her face betrayed her small frame, making her seem 10 feet tall and bulletproof. Why are you thinking she's so small? It's a little back of my head. You should be impressed with her and think she's a 10-foot tall kind of energy all the time, but okay. Alright. My mind struggled with how she found the strength to get up here so fast. It seemed lately she could hardly walk with a straight line without my assistance. My eyes searched behind her, looking for the second set of footsteps, but I found nothing. Maybe she ran up on her hands and feet, like a cat, dog, the thing, a monster. When you're a person, you go. But that probably wouldn't sound like dragging, so I don't know what that's about. Okay. Danny, baby, I can't take this anymore. We have to act now, Maddie pleaded. How could she look into my very own eyes and see someone else? My hand flew to my forehead in frustration. When I decided to stay and work things out when we were younger, I never imagined this would come back like it has now. It was supposed to be over. She had many phases throughout her long life. Why did she have to get stuck in the days she was with Daniel? Well, give it enough time, and she'll probably revert to a whole other time. But okay, get upset with this. Okay, how was this fair to me? Shut the fuck up, Brody. Why did I have to suffer through this again? Yeah, like she's having just the best time about it, I'm sure. Fuck you. It didn't seem to bother her in the least. She just said that she can't take it anymore. I think she's stressed out, and past her was stressed out. But okay, fuck you. Didn't seem to bother her in the least, but I guess that's why some refer to Alzheimer's as the ignorance is in bliss disease. It's supposedly harder on us than it is on them. Yes. For someone that's supposedly been living it, Brody doesn't seem to understand the disease he is caring for, but okay. Yet she continued. If he finds out, he will kill me, Danny. You have to believe me. He'd rather me be dead than be with you. Maddie, honey, please stop it, I pleaded gently. Daniel is dead. Tears sparkled in the corner of her dull gray eyes before traveling the road map of wrinkles on her cheeks. Why would you say that, Danny? You know I can't live without you. Not a happy life, anyway. That was it for me. Without the patience for one more audible word, I left her there, determined to give her the space I knew she wasn't even capable of adequately using. Why are you dissing her for not being able to use space? I can see it as she's just, with her Alzheimer's, she's just gonna do what she's gonna do, but like, dude, you sound really mean to her. And yeah, the Danny died. I mean, it could be that they're just old, but I get this sparkling feeling that this affair and all this stuff, the way that went, was a lot more dramatic, and we're gonna find out that how it ended was not a chat, but a lot more. A violence. Prepare your violence emotes. I think they will be necessary. Okay. Hours later. Oh, thank you for hydrate. I will do that. You killed Daddy. I think you did. But no confirmations yet. Yes, I said prepare them. You don't have to do them yet. Hi, Grummy. Wait, what's that? I mean, look at this. Ah, LaHonk! Oh my gosh. Oh wow, that's an aggressive pew. Thank you, LaBonk. Even though you bonked mask in the same moment, well, you tried to, but the bot refused. Thank you very much. Let's drop some money frog emotes. Thank you very much for the resub, LaBonk. Welcome in, welcome in. Okay, where was I? Oh yes, we're very sus of Brody, aka our narrator. He probably killed Danny. We'll find out. We'll see, we'll see. Okay. Hours later, as the weather slept outside, and the silence of the absence of rain lashed against the windows like icy fingers, my torment reached its zenith. Ooh. Let me do these. I will stretch. I will posture check. Hold on. Let's put that away. Is that good? Okay. Okay. Forgive all the clinky clinks. I'm wearing rings right now. Listen. They're not very good. They're at the wrong fingers to kind of tap at each other, but they're on. Like, it'll hit the table, but that's it. Okay. Hi, Annie. Zenith, like the zenith of monster kind? I think it just means peak, but but of course. Where was it? My torment reached its zenith. Yes, that's where we were. Sitting in our kitchen alone in the darkness, I could feel the tendrils of insane helplessness creeping ever closer, threatening to haunt my soul forever. Desperate for relief, I ventured into the heart of the house to the person who once brought me peace but now brought me sadness. To Maddie. I know. I was bugging you back. Oh, I'm sorry. I also don't know the reference, though. I knew it was a reference, but I didn't know. LaHaunt. That's LaHonk in a ghost costume for Spooktober. You know how you guys do the LaHonk if was ghost for Halloween. LaHaunt. There you go. That's how, yeah, okay. I'm talking too much, but I like it. That's the point. Okay. Brody goes to Maddie. Yes, this is where we were. She looked so innocent and frail, tossing and turning in our bed. As I approached her bedside, an unexpected sense of dread washed over me, chilling me to the bones. Ooh, LaHonk died to become a ghost for Halloween. Yeah, sure, okay. No! Hello, endoplasmic. Hoi. Come in, get cozy. She looked so innocent and frail, tossing and turning in her bed. As I approached her bedside, an unexpected sense of dread washed over me, chilling me to the bones. The room seemed to pulse with a malevolent energy, the air heavy with the weight of unspoken horrors that had become our day-to-day life. And there, amidst the darkness, I finally saw the source of it. A figure loomed over Maddie's side of the bed. Oh my gosh! Its features twistedly grotesque but recognizable all the same. Daniel. He's not dead, or he's undead. He's something. Oh my gosh. Heart pounding, I found myself stumbling backward, my mind reeling with a confusion and anguish. I tried to scream, but no sound escaped my lips. The figure drew nearer to Maddie, his shadowy form engulfing the entire room in darkness. In that moment, I understood what it felt like to be on the precipice of madness, teetering on the edge of oblivion. But then a voice pierced the darkness, cutting through the cacophony of fear and despair. It was Maddie, her voice soft and gentle, calling out from the depths of her confusion. And in that moment, I had found my anchor, a lifetime amidst the chaos, at least for a little while. A lifeline amidst the chaos, sorry. With Maddie's voice as my guide, I gathered the courage to face the darkness head on. I reached out to my wife, taking her trembling hand in my own, and with the presence of her spirit, I confronted the horrors that lurked within the shadows. What did she say? You said her voice, but what did she say? You didn't tell us what she said. Demon, be gone, I commanded, and all at once, Daniel's visage began to change. He roared at me hatefully, as the ethereal atmosphere around him began to falter and fade. It seemed like it was causing him pain, but that didn't make sense to me. After all, his lifeless nervous system had either been burned or rotted away ages ago. What do you mean, burned? Then again, that exact line of reasoning tells me what I see before me is just as outlandish. It took me longer than necessary to make out what she was trying to tell me. The basement. So her telling you that you don't listen feels accurate, because you did not hear her say the basement, but you yelled demon be gone and then was there for a while. You need to listen to... Brody's a problem. Oh my gosh. Okay. I settled her down, brought her some water, and got her all tucked back into bed. My heart told me I should let it go, that whatever I'd find in the basement had nothing helpful to offer me. Meanwhile, my brain screamed at me to investigate. I told myself that whatever had been put in that basement was placed there long ago and no longer had the power to hurt me. Oh, how wrong I was. What do you mean what had been put in the basement long ago no longer had the power to hurt you? You know what's in there? Did you put Daniel in your basement? What the fuck, Brody? You're so fucked up. Okay. Oh, how wrong I was. Yes. The basement stairs were always so steep that even when I had the surest footing, I tried to avoid them. The box. It was the forever box. It was the ice box. Wherever he's putting them away. Okay. My mind split between taking one step at a time and not slipping the entire flight down. However, I made it. Well, I feel like just get a... Danny's basement! I think so. Just get something to make the slip a little bit safer and then just go for it, my dude. Have fun. Cowabunga. No. He's gotta be, what, minimum 70 or something? 50 years? Okay. 50 years married nearly, so I've gotta say probably minimum 70. Alright, however, I made it. The room reeked of dust and mildew, the smell of utter abandonment. Cobwebs hung from just about every corner, the spiders that inhabited them having left long ago. Why did your spiders leave? I scanned the room for anything out of place and found nothing. What I did find, however, was an area of the basement that wasn't as dusty as the rest. Though how she managed to get up and down the stairs was a mystery to me, it was apparent that someone had been in this area more often than the others. So he's assuming it was his wife. My hands fumbled around, searching for any kind of clue at all. Papers flew, and forgotten, stored items were tossed aside. The last sheet of paper, one of Torrin's old school papers, revealed Maddie's old family Bible, which seemed oddly used for how long it had sat down here. I opened the book with trembling hands, and my entire world changed. The few mysteries over the decades of our lives instantly clicked into place the moment the cover was opened, especially my alarming health problems of late. The Bible solved everything? The pages of the book had been cut, revealing a hollow space inside. Only it wasn't empty. There, safely nestled in its hiding spot, was a half-empty bottle of arsenic. She'd been poisoning you? And Daniel the one that did? Damn. Poor Maddie got stuck with the wrong guy. I got out my phone and Googled the effects of arsenosis, as I tried to mentally absorb the situation. Unfortunately, I was shaking so badly that it took me more tries than I'd like to admit. Sorry, the mouse was over the letters. First, skin lesions. One of the most visible signs of chronic arsenic poisoning is the development of skin lesions. These may appear as discolored patches, rough, thickened, or wart-like growths, and can progress to more severe conditions like hyperkeratosis, thickening of the skin, and eventually skin cancer. I stared down at my arms, wincing at the eggplant-shaded bruises and calloused-edged sores that appeared every now and then. Ooh, this reminds me. Ooh. Scribbles down notes. Yes. Putting this in D&D. I see now. It's definitely not a good idea. No, I would never do that. Okay, and then it's got cancer. Chronic exposure to arsenic has been strongly linked to an increased risk. Rick, you've increased. Shut up, Raven. Oh my gosh. An increased risk of several types of cancer, including skin, lung, bladder, liver, and kidney cancer. Cancer, that was the last thing on the list I hadn't been tested for. I'd refused any scans or x-rays the entire year before, thinking if they didn't find anything, it meant I wouldn't have anything. Well, that's just inaccurate and dangerous. Get tested so that you can respond sooner. Yes, there are many times when you scan and it's not a problematic cancer, it's not one that's going to grow, it's not dangerous, or it's some sort of tumor, but it's not even cancer, like all these different kinds of things. But safer is better, especially if you're concerned about it. Just being like, well, if I don't look, it won't be there. That's a problem, my guy. Okay, he had a devil fruit, the One Piece campaign, of course, and that let him turn parts of his body into minerals and stuff. He used it to turn fists into arsenic. Oh my god, that's so messed up. Eggplant shaded bruises. Delicious looking bruises. Jeez, Andy. Okay. Anyway, moving on to the next thing that he was suspicious about and was one of the effects. Cardiovascular effects. Arsenic exposure has been associated with cardiovascular diseases such as hypertension, atherosclerosis, I think, and ischemic heart disease. My blood pressure had always been high, so that couldn't really be used as a confirmed symptom. Reproductive and developmental effects. Fortunately for me, it was a tad too late for any of that to be a concern. I'd already had my kids, and I was about as developed as I was ever going to get. Gastrointestinal effects. Chronic ingestion of arsenic-contaminated food or water can cause gastrointestinal symptoms such as abdominal pain, nausea, vomiting, diarrhea, and gastritis. Not while I'm reading the diseases list. Please, Andy, my God. Okay. Long-term exposure may increase the risk of gastrointestinal cancers, particularly of the liver, colon, and stomach. Again, that was said earlier, but again, hadn't been tested, and I've always had a somewhat sensitive stomach. Immune system dysfunction. Arsenic exposure can suppress immune function, making individuals more susceptible to infections and impairing the body's ability to mount an effective immune response against pathogens. Well, see, this one was hard to tell. When you get to be our age, your immune system was pretty much shit anyway. I put away my phone, resigned to the fact that it hadn't proved helpful. Still, although every symptom hadn't been confirmed, here it was in my very own hands. Well, maybe it was used for something besides yourself. I don't know. Okay. Sure, I could have thrown it away, and I damn near did. But she got strong on the days that the devil had her mind, and there wasn't any reasoning with her either. If she came down here and found this gone, only God and Lucifer know what havoc she would wreak. In her mind, I wouldn't be someone she loved. I'd be reduced back to what I was during her affair, an obstacle in her way, something she needed to be rid of. As far as punishment goes, it seemed to have taken care of itself in a twisted way. What do you mean punish? You were gonna punish her? You were gonna punish your wife? Like she was a child that you had to give grounding to? What do you mean punishment? What the fuck? Okay, anyway, what was I supposed to do? Call the police on my 78-year-old wife? With how the healthcare system is, there was just as much chance of me being carted off as her. Yeah, that's not terribly off, but I was thinking she could be thinking about using that for something else. You immediately jumped to it being about you, and I can't fully disagree. But considering she was concerned she was gonna kill you, my guy, what the hell? I figured emptying the bottle down the sink drain, washing it vigorously, and replacing it with water was just about the best option I had. I mean, that's not a bad idea. So here I'm left, sitting alone in my basement with a bottle of arsenic water in one hand and nothing but heaps of regret in the other. I'd always been thankful for her good days, when she had her memory back, when I had my wife back. However, this was something else entirely. Now it seemed like my life counted on those good days, the ones that seemed fewer and farther between as of late. Ooh, oh. There's one, I'm just seeing, there's a hidden sentence underneath everything, but okay. Some days I wish I could join her in her make-believe world with her back like I did back then. I'm older now, Daniel is long dead, and I'm tired. So damn tired. Maddie's bad days were getting more consistent by the week. It seemed the light of her spirit that shined through the cracks of dementia had all been sealed over. I thought it was Alzheimer's. What? Shut out from me forever. Her bad days were the ones where her mind took her back to the time when she was unfaithful. She wasn't mine during these times, she was his. It hurt and terrified me all at once. My sense of shame, betrayal, and heartache fought with my sense of self-preservation to live. I told myself I wanted to live, but struggled to figure out what for. And then the last sentence was in a different section, or different color, so it looked hidden. But unfortunately for me, those were also the days she remembered to poison me. The end. I don't fully understand Brody's plight. I think the point is that, as he's just summarized, he is struggling with her mental health, although now he's saying it's dementia, not Alzheimer's. Comorbidity? I don't know the specifics on that much. But, on her good days, he's having a good time, but her bad days were the ones where she took her mind back to her place when she was unfaithful. Unfortunately, those were also the days she remembered to poison me. Or was it the other way around? Is it her bad days she was in her affair, in the good days she remembers to poison you? Because I think that is what she's trying to say, which would imply that when she's good and she's a little bit more with it, that implies that she's always wanted to hurt him, which is not good. What I'm really getting, the real headlight here is, Maddie, I'm so sorry you got stuck with this guy. Get the hell away as soon as you can. What in the fork? My God. He just comes off as kind of possessive the way he talks about her being his on her good days. Yeah, the possessiveness did come through there, especially at the end. But ooh, she wants to poison me, but she doesn't fully remember. Okay. I like the theory. Okay, so we're gonna do another one. I'm clicking the random story. We're gonna see what pops up. Very slow to load. Oh, goodness. This one is very long. I feel like I can't do this. It's too long. It's one of two, and it's 36 minutes long. I'm committed. I want to read it, but at the same time, my goodness. Huh? It's so long. Okay, it looks like it has part 1 and 2 separated out, but I'm just going to open another window and pull up a different one, and we can do that. We can do that one on a day where I have more time. Okay, what's the random story that's coming up? Aw, much better. Very short one. Perfect. This one is called Elevator Code. If you'd like to do redeems, you can go ahead and drop those, and we can do those. I'm just prepping this. Yeah. If you want to, just redeem them and we'll do them. We'll have trigger breaks if there's requests. This is a really short one, though, I bet. I'll be able to read it, and we'll jump into the triggers right after if you do request them, because it's very quick. Well, comparatively. Yeah. Aha, see? Yep, typos. But, typing, not typos. But we'll read this one and it'll go quick. Yeah. Okay. Elevator code. Here we go. As a freelance convention planner, I stay at many hotels over the course of a year. I spend about a week per trip in an all-expense-paid suite of my choosing, doing nothing but studying the location and interviewing the staff on hand to get a feel for the hotel and its traffic. I then spend another week organizing the event and ensuring my client is satisfied with my plans. There's a little more to it, but that's the overall gist of the job. If you can get over the constant jet lag, it's not a bad gig. In all my years of planning conventions, I must have stayed at over 100 different hotels with similar floor plans, architecture, and staff trading. They all blend together in my mind. I would say, you say many years? I would have guessed more than 100. Like hundreds easily, but okay. They all blend together in my mind, but one in particular will always stay with me. The Grovewood Inn, located just on the outskirts of Cape Cod. That one kept me up for many nights, even after I left. At first, my trip to the Grovewood brain. Hundreds of hotels, sorry, not years, many years, but hundreds of hotels within the many years. Old. Yes, that would be old. Good job. Good job. Okay. At first, my trip to the Grovewood Inn seemed mostly forgettable. The convention I was planning was a glorified book club meeting for a group of older women and some local authors. The service, food, and layout of the hotel were average and unexciting. The only thing I liked about the place was Clara, the desk clerk. I'd have even asked her out on a date had she not been married. I had planned boring conventions before and been to many subpar hotels, but this trip was remarkably mind-numbing. I couldn't wait to be done with it. One night at the inn, after a long day of mundane event planning, I flipped on the TV, poured a glass of wine, and climbed into bed. Sounds nice. I grabbed the program guide from my bedside table and looked it over, hoping to find the corn networks. As I glanced through the channel listings, Something at the bottom of the page caught my eye. Written crudely in permanent marker was the following: Elevator code 03, 08, 06, B1, 04, 02, 07, B2, 05, 01. So, the 3rd, the 8th, the 6th, the basement 1, the 4th, the 2nd, the 7th, the basement 2, the 5th, the 1. This was odd. I knew of hotels that had pin pads on their elevators, usually to prevent children from using them, but the Grovewood Inn was not one of them. Plus, most pin pad elevators only required a 4-digit code. Intrigued, I decided to call up the front desk to find out more. I was sure the code would turn out to be something trivial and uninteresting, but it was, at the very least, an excuse to talk to Clara again. Though unreciprocated, I enjoyed flirting with her. You know she's married. Stop. I should have warned you, but I got excited. I'm sorry, that was loud. Raven had feelings. Coming right off the other story. Okay. I enjoyed flirting with her for no other reason than to hear her infectious laughter. A sip of wine and few failed pickup lines later. I'm sorry. I'm bad. I'm sorry. A sip of wine and a few failed pickup lines later, and I was back at square one. Clara didn't know anything about it, claiming there were no devices. I'm being blocked by everyone. I wasn't bonking you, I was bonking our narrator. You got that dog. Oh, shush. Sip of wine. Few pickup lines later. Stop hitting her with pickup lines. And I was back at square one. Well, you were never gonna get anywhere. Clara didn't know anything about it, claiming there was no devices in the entire building that would require a code like that, much less one of the elevators. She did, however, point out that the numbers in the code aligned with every floor of the hotel, 1 through 8, plus the 2 basement levels. We both found this odd, but ultimately couldn't make sense of it. After getting off the phone with Clara, my curiosity got the best of me. I left my room, walked over to the elevator, and stepped inside. I then pressed the buttons in the order they were written on my channel guide, just to see if anything would happen. Much to my disappointment, the elevator did nothing but take me to every floor of the hotel before finally stopping at the lobby. Did it go in order from whatever floor you were in down to the bottom? Or did it go in order of when you ordered it? Because that would be unhinged and weird. You call it flirting with a married woman. I call it Skibbity Ohio grind set. This guy. Yeah, it's icky. Cage. Are you doing the things you need to do? You better not be staying up. I know you need to eat. I don't trust you sometimes, just because I don't trust you to look after yourself, and I'm gonna yell at you about it. I'm gonna do it. Okay, good. Alright. Okay, so he stopped at the lobby at the end. I'm assuming he was on the top floor and he went down every floor. But okay. The front desk was in eyeshot of the elevator, so I quickly hit the button for my floor, not wanting to explain to Clara what I was up to. Don't balk, Cage. Cage did say was doing some stuff, so fair to do that. Yeah. Uploads, eats, and then bed. Same as me after a stream. Same as me. Boop, 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 boop. Didn't want Clara to see because it would be weird. Yes. Go ahead. Though I didn't have a shot with her, it still would have been embarrassing to tell her I was spending my night playing around in the elevator. You already told her about the code. It's really unimportant. But also, you can be embarrassed of people seeing you without having to do at all with a romantic request. Please, stop being like this to women. Stories, please, stop it. Okay. Luckily, I was able to escape unseen. Cool. Okay. Upon stepping foot back on my floor, I noticed a member of the cleanup crew walking down the hall. That's when it hit me. The staff never used the patron elevators. They had their own service elevator to get from floor to floor without impeding the travel of guests. It may sound ridiculous, but I needed to know if the code worked in that elevator, if for no other reason than to placate my undying curiosity. I inconspicuously made my way down the hall, heading to the service elevator. Once there, the familiar sting of disappointment set in. A staff card was required to gain access, no doubt to keep guests from using it. Feeling defeated and realizing how crazy I was letting boredom make me, I walked back to my room. After a few more glasses of wine, I drifted off and entered a long, peaceful, alcohol-induced slumber. I awoke many hours later to sunlight flooding my room and the familiar sound of a vacuum next door. Cleanup is always in full force early in the morning at hotels. True. When the initial grogginess of waking up wore off, something came to mind, something that caused me to jump to my feet and immediately exit my room. There, in the middle of the hall, was the cleaning cart, and there was no staff in sight. Hanging from a lanyard was the maid's staff card, ripe for the taking. This was it. This was my chance. Why are you getting someone in trouble at their work for a bunch of bullshit, you stupid, insane person? Just ask Clara. Just ask Clara. Like, you could have been like, hey, I want to see if it works on the other elevators. And then Clara would be like, oh, okay, well, I do have a staff card. Like, it's not that hard. Fucking hell. You're gonna get this poor maid in trouble for losing her staff card? Okay. Yes, it was your chance. Okay. Gotta get to sleep and listen to the rest of the stream. Looked out. Aww. Go ahead, get to sleep. Eat well. Sorry I broke into the staff room. I was bored. This guy is like 12, I swear. And yet has access to booze and has been doing job that has been doing for many years. Ugh. But it does explain his bad math earlier now. Should have been more than 100 hotels by far. Unless he's not getting that much work. I guess that could be it. Okay. Well, this is how his behavior is. Yeah, it wouldn't surprise me he's not getting that much work. I assume he. Not sir, but I don't get the idea that this is a queer woman. I don't get that vibe. Okay. So this is your chance. You're running away. Maybe it was the slight hangover I had, or perhaps it truly was the monotony of planning a less than exciting convention, but I grabbed that card and ran to the service elevator like it was the last chance I had at having some adventure during my trip. Someone at the security cameras was like, what the fuck? Okay, something about that code was calling to me. It was a mystery I desperately felt the need to solve. Clearly. Upon swiping the maid's card and entering the elevator, I quickly punched in the code and waited. At first, nothing happened. The elevator didn't move, but the buttons all remained illuminated. Ooh. I'm down for whimsical. It's that he's a coward about it. Like, oh no, I don't want Clara to see it. Like, just fucking do it. And you're causing somebody else's job to be in trouble. Like, just go for it. Like, if he had did it last night, that's the kind of whimsical energy. Hell yeah. This is just... what the fuck? Okay. Upon swiping, all the buttons remain illuminated. I thought that maybe I somehow busted the thing, but the preceding moments proved this theory wrong. Without warning, the elevator raced up the heights of the hotel, ascending much faster than normal. The digital readout above counted the floors up to 8 and then kept going until it reached 12. This was bizarre, as the Grovewood Inn only had 8 floors, and there was no discernible reason the elevator should have been able to reach that height. By all accounts, I would have been in the sky by that point. After a few moments, the elevator door opened, revealing behind it a grand ballroom, the likes of which I'd never seen before in any of the hotels I'd been to. Victorian-era chandeliers hung from the ceiling, beautiful silk banners danced from wall to wall, and hundreds of people dressed in old-fashioned attire and elegant facewear waltzed about as a large band played a catchy tune. My jaw was on the floor. So there's a bunch of people here. I don't know. It's hard to explain, but A romantic fog filled the air. I watched as masked patrons danced in unison and partook in lavish festivities, completely oblivious to my presence. For a moment or two, I completely forgot about the hotel below, awestruck by the scene before me. Something about it was absolutely intoxicating. Just as I was about to step out of the elevator, the music stopped all at once. The ballroom guests turned around to face me and held their gaze with mine, almost as if peering into my very soul. It became quickly apparent that I was not welcome there. An uninvited and unwanted visitor in a room I was never supposed to reach. It was clear to me that it was time to leave. I tried pressing the button for the lobby, but it wouldn't light up. I tried floors 2, 3, and 4, no dice. The elevator was stagnant, and I was trapped. I looked back over to the crowd, and to my horror, they had begun walking in my direction. Their march was slow, but without a working elevator, I had no means to escape. I was at the mercy of the ballroom and its occupants now. No matter what that fate entailed. With little in the way of options, I attempted to converse with the group. "Who are you? What do you want with me?" My query was met with little reaction. The only response I received was the continued sound of footsteps on the ballroom floor. "You are the one that barged in there. Why would you say, 'What do you want with me?' Who are you?" Valid. But, wow. Frightened of what was to come next, though, I backed up as far as the elevator walls would allow, a mouse cornered in a bird's cage. Just as the vultures closed the gap between us, an explosion of fire emerged from the background. What? Overcoming the guests and engulfing the entire room in flames. Damn, what? I began to cough uncontrollably from the toxic smoke that loomed above. The smoke already got over to you? That's fast. Beads of sweat the size of pearls dripped down my cheeks. To top it off, the guests were still there, standing still at the foot of the elevator, somehow unfazed by the fiery heat around them. In between coughs, I managed to offer them one last question, though I knew it would probably go unanswered. "What do you want?" The hell? "It's time for you to retire. Okay, go eat. Take care." Of course, Cage. Sleep well. See ya tomorrow, probably, or / morning. Time zones and the like. But okay, eat well. This is like the Empire State Building in the Percy Jackson series. Not quite that tall, only the 12th floor. It didn't go that far, but it is kind of like that. Okay, so what do you want? A woman at the front of the crowd stepped forward. She wore a fox mask and a slight grin. Though her lips would soon spread apart to speak. Why did you word it that way? What? Okay. "We want to be saved," is I guess what she says. At this moment, the flames took flight, rising to the highest heights of the ballroom. Molten skin dripped from the woman's frame like candle wax as her features morphed into a gruesome arrangement of congealed flesh and bubbling blisters. Ew. "Won't you save us?" In a grotesque slur of unnatural movement, the woman stumbled in my direction, arms outstretched. I stood still in terror as her burnt fingers made their way to my neck. Just as she was about to make contact, the doors shut behind her and the lights went out. Shut behind her? So she's in there with you. If the doors shut behind her, she's in the elevator with this buddy. But it seems... Okay. Doors shut behind her and the lights went out. The bulb in the elevator, the fire in the ballroom, it was all gone. The energy around me had dissipated abruptly, leaving nothing but pitch blackness in its place. Somehow I was alone. So she disappeared, or you missed that plot hole? Okay. A few moments of confusion passed, followed by a loud roar from the elevator shaft below. All at once, everything sprung back to life, save for my fox-masked assailant. As the elevator dropped, I watched the digital readout count backward from 12. Eventually, I was back in familiar territory, safe and sound on the ground floor. Before the doors could fully open, I made a mad dash for the front desk. Clara! Hey, what's got you so frazzled, and what were you doing in the service elevator? If I told her what I'd seen, she'd think I was crazy. And rude for stealing that, probably. Instead, I composed myself and asked her for some information. Did this hotel ever have a 12th floor? Clara looked very suspicious by my question. What about 9th, 10th, and 11th, too? But okay, fine. Yes, it did. The Grovewood Inn was originally almost twice this height, but a lot of it burned up in a bad fire, so it had to be reconstructed. The top floor was a ballroom, but that was a very long time ago. She pointed at a framed picture on the wall behind her, dated 1913. Why do you ask? No reason, just curious, that's all. You are the weirdest guest she has ever had. No, you're not. There's plenty more weird, but she's definitely unsettled. Okay. I promptly made my way back to my room and reflected on everything. I wondered if I'd seen the picture without realizing it, and dreamed up my elevator escapade. I discarded this thought rather quickly, sure that I was wide awake when it happened. I thought it might have been something in the wine, but that was equally unlikely. Nah, dude, I don't know. Maybe you got something in your wine, but I don't know. There was no logical explanation for what occurred. No, I think that's a pretty reasonable one. And that's about it. I never found out exactly what happened the day in the hotel. I mustered up enough courage to try the code again, but it didn't work. It seems I was allowed a one-time glimpse into the past. Why would you try that again? Allowed a one-time glimpse into the past. A look at what was before and what might still be today had the hotel not been partially destroyed. What do you mean it might have been today? If it hadn't been destroyed. What? I only wish I could have taken part in the festivities before things went sour. Perhaps I could have somehow prevented the fire and saved the patrons, just like the fox-masked woman wanted. All I can do now is look back on that day, completely bewildered, as I plan my next convention. Well, okay, you unhinged person. I don't know what to make of this at all. It's just, wow. Okay. That was elevator code. Alright, I'll hit the next random story to see what pops up, but then we're going to do triggers. I'm not going to read it. I'm just going to wait. Oh yeah, that's a good one. Good time length, I mean. We have typing and we have kalimba redeemed, so let's get started with typing. Anybody a Zoidberg fan? I like him. Okay, let's get the typing. I'm gonna move the mic. I'm gonna mute it first, and then we're gonna do. Okay. You love Zoidberg! Yay! He's a good bro. He's a good bro. Okay, here we go. accidental blep. I didn't realize I put T and O because that's my trigger is T-O. They have to be hit at the same time and held down, but I guess I went typing too fast and then that. Oops. Whoop. Okay, we've got a bunch more redeems though now. Kalimba and page ruffling, mic arm, and rage buffing. Oh no. Oh no. Okay. Well, let's start with Kalimba. Let's go get that. I'll put it up and then I'll have to pull the Kalimba off the shelf, so give me a second. I'm gonna go right there. Mike. Stop making noise. What are you doing? Why are you being wobbly and noisy? That was not requested of you. Okay. Hold for mic adjustments. Okay. Adjusted. Kalimba. I'll go again. Why am I having a hard time? Okay, one more. Woohoo! Kalimba! Okay, I'm going away now. Okay. Page ruffling. Here we go. The little fluff guy a little bit off, but I got this. Okay. Page ruffling. Alright. I start with a little book, stiff pages, and a big book, fluffy pages. No, Mask, you don't pull this on me. You don't do this. You don't do the little honk thing. I refuse, and I will bonk you if you push it. Here's a fluffy book. Here we go. Wow, we're really getting all of the redeems in right now. Everybody's coming up. There is our page ruffling. I'm going to do mic arm sharpening. And then we're going to do more. Because it looks like you're just redeeming them all. I'm not against it. I'm just, wow. They're coming at me all at once. Okay, mic arm sharpening now. Let's do that. I'm going to move the mic, get it in place. And it's muted while I do that, so hold on. Okay. Good night, Divide. Eat well, take care. See you when we see you. There's our night sharpening. What's next? Okay, I'm moving mic back. Okay, I think I'm gonna do... Yeah, I'll do rage puffing, and then scissors, and the singing frog, and then we'll do dice and card dealing at the end. So here comes a rage puff. Let's do that. Alright. It begins with... Whoop. And then... anger. I'm pure rage, I promise. I'm very angry. Puffs. Thank you for dropping that in, Mask. Quick little... What in the heck am I even listening to? Little warning. What in the hell is that? It's the annotations every time. This closed captioning is brought to you by Rage Puffing. Oh my goodness. Let's see how that compares to the subtitles that YouTube does automatically. I bet it won't be far off. If they even try. Oh my gosh. I just hit scissor snips, so we're gonna do scissor snips. Let's do those. Okay, here we go. Scissors. Very accidental, Bop. I'm so sorry. You didn't get cut though. You didn't get snipped. I didn't pull a Vi. You just got bonked. I'm so sorry. This is the episode where Raven bonks you twice. And it's a short stream, so that's very bad statistically. Oh my gosh. I'm so sorry. I didn't mean to. I was busy thinking about your little comment there, Mask. I do say I never, because in my head, a Karen, a rage puffer, really does often say, well, I never. Just because it's so silly to me and stupid and, like, presumptuous and done. Vi got us. Vi does when the with the hair, she used to do, like, when she did her haircuts, she said that the jokes is that she'll snip your ears a little bit, or somebody made that joke at her. That's been a bit with her for a while. I know, because when I started really early and I started doing scissor snips, it was Vi telling me, or it was someone that watched Vi saying, Vi cuts us, Vi snips us. It's bad. What do you mean? Can't forget the ow my ear redeem. Yeah. Ow, my leg. My leg. I can't do the SpongeBob, my leg. The people that can actually, like, copy that. My leg. Yeah, you're the goat. That's the best. Oh, I love that. It's like a Wilhelm scream. I love them. Okay, Fet, eep well, take care. And thank you for backing me up with the ow my ear redeem. Yeah. Yeah, can't forget it. I have not watched much of Vi's VODs or anything. I haven't been there for many of her streams. But the pieces I see and the bits where people tell me about it, I'm like, oh no, that's a Vi thing. And then she'll tell me about it too sometimes. Wilhelm scream is used so much in the OT of Star Wars. Well, yeah, because in the beginning, George Lucas was just like, I want to do this thing, and it's based off of that thing, and I'm going to have fun, and it's going to be silly and fun, and yeah. And it was a peak time for just pull on in some nonsense, just like they pull on in freaking Harrison Ford, who was just a carpenter, my guy. He was just a carpenter on set, and they're like, you know what, you. Also, not sure how much longer you're planning on going. If you need a raid recommendation, I can give you one before I go. Yeah, I think I'm gonna go. I was thinking I would get to 2 hour mark, and I've got to 1:30. I want to do the rest of these, and then I want to do the next creepypasta, and that'll probably be it for the night. But yeah, a recommendation is always appreciated. Thank you, Fet. But you don't have to. Whatever you want. What was my brain at? Oh, I was gonna do the next triggers. That's what next. So the next one is Singing Frog. We're gonna bring Herbert in. Get ready for your solo, Herbert. Boop. Ooh, that's perfect. That's perfect. We'll go and see them. Nariane. 3 vowels right next to each other. They're a lot. Fet goat, yes. Well, I mean, if Fet can also impersonate the SpongeBob my leg guy, then yeah, you're definitely the goat. I think I've said the my leg 3 different ways now, and this isn't something you can pull off with a clip very easily, but I feel like I ought to make a quick my leg compilation. Because I love that bit so much. I love that bit so much. And I'll try, but I'll never get it right. No, but Fet is still a goat. Okay. Singing Frog, let's bring in Herbert. It's your time, my little wooden dude. Here we go. Yeah, Herbert. Thank you for the little singing froggy boat mask. Do you like that he's all touched up? I did the thing. I went in and did the little white outline so you could see his musical notes a little bit better in the dark. And I think it's enough. It gets the job done. I think it's good. Okay. Now I'm gonna move the mic. We're gonna do card dealing and then dice. And then we're gonna get into the story unless you have more triggers. But I assume you don't. Let's get it moving. I said moving, but I think I muted myself too fast. Okay. Here we go. And no, I did not, honk. I'm doing cards right now, you little silly goose, because that's you. You're a goose and you are silly. But no, I saved them. Because both cards and dice, I have to point the mic at my desk, and so I'm all hunched over to talk to you. That's why my model is frozen. I'm back up. Hello. And now I'm down here and you can hear me. And now I'm back up. Hello. You get it? You get it? I like to put them together. Okay, here we go. You do this to me. It's for you. You request it and then you say not to do it. It's for you. Okay. I'll just yell from way up here. Okay, here's card dealing. tell me what to do and then get upset that I did it. Back in the box you go, and then immediately a bag of dice, bam. What's fun about this is that this time I'll have rings, so it'll be extra clicky clack. Okay, no, it just sounds the exact same, but I tried, okay? That was one die on the ring, so that's useful, but otherwise. Okay, more dice. I'm not dead. It's like Raven had a bunch of beans today. She's very silly. That's a 10. That's a 10. That's 2 many dice. Anybody know that reference? Can you hear me? I don't know. Alright, right back. Yes, mask. Okay, mic back up. And I was saying, yes, mask. Exactly. Oh no! That one! Emote. Okay. Now, we move on to our story, and it will be the last of the night. Probably. Almost definitely. Go with me here. It is Hell is Heaven to the Demons. Ooh. Mask, you actually did! Hey, twinning! To be fair though, I rolled like 15 times. Damn though. That's crazy. Okay. Let's get this up. Let's get this going. You're devastated? It's okay. Misery loves company. We'll be miserable and devastated together. It's okay. Eh. There we go. Hell is heaven to the demons. Last story, guys. Last story, I think. Here we go. And I will be back later today, aka tomorrow, for more stream. I think I will call this one October 22 stream 1, and then tomorrow's October 22 stream 2, just because they're both in the same time zone for EST. That's usually how I do it. Just so you know. On YouTube, that's what the names will be. Lately, we haven't been doing 2 in a stream, so I haven't been doing that. But yeah, okay. You don't need to know any of this. This is just Raven thinking out loud for no good reason. Anyway, story time. Focus. Okay. And don't shrimp. Oh no. Okay. Justice isn't blind. If she cannot see, then it's simply because she doesn't care enough to look. She turned away that dark night my sister was attacked, where even the moon and stars must have hidden their faces in shame. From all accounts, it was an anonymous there you go, act of brutality, an impulsive flight, a brief struggle, the humiliation of... Remember having that trigger warning up? This one, I should have had it ready, but I didn't know until I read just now. But the first few sentences, you might be able to get it. Yeah, okay. So, before I start again from the beginning, let's make sure Raven has an appropriate sexual themes and violent graphic depictions. Good, that's exactly what we need. Okay, good. We'll remind you now, trigger warning, and if you are not prepared to hear this, what you could probably guess, then this is going to be the last stream. You can either wait, or the last story of the stream, you can even wait to, the text is gone, the title is gone. I won't be talking about it as soon as the title's gone, or you can head out right now. But this is very clearly involving mentions and probably some degree of descriptions, possibly, of violence, and this does refer to sexual violence. It will be very dark, so prepare yourselves. If you're okay to stay, you can stay. I will not in any way be offended if you leave. So, yeah, that's what we're about to read. Trigger warning, sexual assault. Okay, starting from the top. Yeah. Oof. Justice isn't blind. If she cannot see, then it's simply because she doesn't care enough to look. She turned away that dark night my sister was attacked, where even the moon and stars must have hidden their faces in shame. From all accounts, it was an anonymous act of brutality. Oh my god, we're gonna have to read the thing all over again. Hello, Raiders! A moth in the archive, welcome in! Hello, welcome in! Thank you for doing the shout out. Yes, thank you for this. Thank you for reading, everybody. We're just about to restart this. I'm gonna do this one more time. Yeah, you got another moth friend, Pazuzu. We just started this story, and I see that it is going to cover extra concerning stuff. I have my little warning before you join. I have my little trigger warning on screen, but I'm going to be a bit more explicit in this particular warning because it's a lot. I do not take any offense if you need to leave. And yes, a moth, go take care of yourself. Thank you very much for raiding in, but go ahead and look after yourself. Hope to see you another time. So, trigger warning, violence, sexual assault, possible descriptions of it, at least mentions of it. This will be heavy. Please look after yourself and disappear if you need to. As soon as the text is gone, I am not going to be talking about it, but this is our last story of the night. So, yeah. Oh, thank you for the follow, Documancer. Welcome in. Let's drop some dancey emotes. Thank you for following. Oh my gosh, why did you go away, you little emote bar? Why are you not loading? For whatever reason, Twitch is being very slow right now. I do not know why. But there's some dancies. There's some dancies for you. I'd say, but one of my triggers is going to be red. Yes, feel free to disappear. This is... Yeah, I got you. We will see you another time. This is why I say these kinds of triggers. Sometimes I don't know, but I saw the word, and it's very clear how this is possibly going to go, at least in the next sentence or two. So, look after yourself. I'm going to push through, but you go ahead and disappear. We're going to restart One more time. Just a couple sentences. Okay. Justice isn't blind. If she cannot see, then it's simply because she doesn't care enough to look. She turned away that dark night my sister was attacked, where even the moon and stars must have hidden their faces in shame. From all accounts, it was an anonymous act of brutality, an impulsive flight, a brief struggle, the humiliation of the R word, and then the lifetime of silent nightmares that must surely follow such depraved violence. I've heard it's a common story where the lonely roads meet beyond the protective halo of street lamps. Silly little mask. Yeah. Okay. For all the virtues we profess, there is a savagery dormant in us, waiting only for our fellow man to blink. It is easy to be noble while someone is watching, and fear the judgment may yet steady our course. And the fear of judgment may yet steady our course. Yeah. In solitude, the moral compass will lose its bearing, replaced by whichever base instinct can scream louder than our pounding blood. And by the way, I realized I didn't. I just read your message, Mask. Yeah. Brain. Oh my gosh. Everywhere. Okay. It is some consolation that I found the one who valued his greed over human dignity. Through the course of these confessions, you will see that I am no better than the animal I hunted, so I will waste no time professing by merit now. I buy substances from a man who knew everything that happened in his neighborhood, and like anyone who seeks profit from another's misfortune, he was willing to sell me the name I required. I found the attacker. I'm replacing that word because they use the words very directly, but I want to be aware of Twitch and YouTube's rules. So, found the attacker when he returned to the street my sister suffered upon, pacing and circling like a hungry animal, haunting the doorstep of his last meal. He didn't see me coming, and I made no sound nor spoke no word save for the poetry my bullet inscribed in his skull. I should have departed at once, but the satisfaction that his last throes of life promised lured me into complacent voyeurism. I stayed to tell him that my sister sent her love, hoping to purchase her closure with the death rattle singing in his throat. I wasn't expecting repentance, nor did I receive it. It wasn't the first time, and it won't be the last, were his final words to reach living ears. I've no one to blame but myself and my zealous retribution for failing to notice that he didn't work alone. They were on top of me in moments, wrestling me to the ground and stomping my gun away from my shattered hand. Knives punctured my back and neck, leaving great sucking wounds that inhaled the night air. Wounds breathing in place of my lungs, which were swiftly filled with blood. There weren't any magnanimous thoughts or profound revelations as the light went out. One moment there was simply light and pain and noise, and then nothing. And then nothing. And then I opened my eyes to find I was no longer of this world. I knew at once, despite the fact that I was sitting at a quite ordinary wooden desk in a room no larger than a janitorial closet. On the desk was a piece of paper, and on the paper was a question, and in that question was written my fate for eternity. Wow. Hi, Natsu. Yes, we're on very late, but we are wrapping up soon. Gonna finish this story. So, that question was written my fate for eternity. Welcome to hell. Would you like to 1. Remain human? You will be tortured by those who became demons. 2. Become a demon? You will torture those who remained human. P.S. If there aren't enough people to volunteer to remain human, they will be chosen randomly. I do not believe it is within my nature to torture anyone. Even my sister's abuser received death as fast as an executioner's axe. But no more could it be said it is within my nature to receive torture, as unnatural a human construct as can be imagined. But if I had to choose, as I'm sure many of you would have done so far removed from the judgment of both man and God, then I choose to accept my new home and don the mantle of hell I was offered. This is an interesting thought, and I want to see it play out, but I'm having icky feelings. So I want to write them down, and I'll come back to them later, is I think the plan. Paper. Okay, there we go. Okay, so then I chose to accept my new home and the mantle of hell I was offered. I steeled myself against the horrendous transformation I pictured, imagining razor talons growing from my bones to rip holes in the flesh, or an entropic decay to rack my body until my skin ran down my face like candle wax. No physical transformation came over me, though. A phenomenon, brain, which I can only account to the devil's ironic sense of humor. I knew it from the first moment the floor dropped underneath to fling me down into the carnal realm, however. I was a demon now. And it was heaven to me. I expected the first time to be harder. The woman was presented to me in perfect physical health. I haven't noticed any discrepancies in age since I arrived. Everyone looks to be in their mid-20s here. The room was sealed, and I was given an hour to work on her. I find it distasteful to dwell on exactly what I did, but I remember rationalizing it cleanly with the knowledge that she was only here because she deserved it. Never mind that I was here too. Never mind that it could have been me randomly chosen. Never mind that she could have volunteered to suffer like this to spare another. She was in hell, and it was my job to make sure she knew it. It wasn't until I'd finished that I learned the second rule to this infernal game. Once the hour of punishment had been completed, the human is offered a choice. They can get revenge on me, or they can accept their pain and continue their journey. Those who refuse the chance to retaliate shall be incrementally evaluated until at last their soul is cleansed and they are set to be reborn on earth. If, however, they choose to turn the torture on me instead, I will be nourished by the pain and descend further along the dark road I have chosen. For each blow inflicted upon me, my skin hardens, my muscles tighten, and my power will flourish. It didn't take long for me to realize how to properly play. It is an interesting concept. You're not wrong there. It didn't take long for me to realize how to properly play. The only way for me to progress was to inflict a punishment so foul and induce a hatred so deep in my victim that they choose revenge over the quality of their immortal soul. And progress I must, for untold centuries of this game repeated has refined some demons into legendary masters of their craft. Those demons have carved out kingdoms for themselves in this infernal domain, and through their countless successes have transformed themselves into towering behemoths of apocalyptic ability, shattering the landscape with their tread, and sending their lessers into groveling servitude. Since the moment I chose to become a demon, the gates of absolution have been closed to me forever. It may be my fate to dwell in this realm, but it was my choice to rule it. And so I went to work honing my skill. It wasn't enough to simply batter the humans into submission. If I was to force their hand against me, I had to get inside their mind, caressing and nurturing their spirit into one of mindless wrath. I need to cough. Hold on. All right. I'll even give it cool. The concept. The rest, there are other details that make it like cool, but that doesn't mean I'll give notes later. Where's the Doomslayer when you need him? Okay. I went honing my skill. If I was to force a hand, mindless wrath. I learned to expose the subconscious dread lying dormant that even the bravest dare not shed light on. I mastered the art of wetting my brush in nightmares to repaint their memories until all they once knew of life was corrupted by my influence. I promised false salvation, or deceived them into thinking they had escaped, or spoiled their loved ones until they could not contain the anger I imbued within them. Again, I need to cough. I'll hydrate and I'm hopefully better. Let's see. But I didn't stop there. I studied the ancient texts of demonic lore recounting the torment of dying stars from the beginning of time. I served under the foulest creatures I could find, watching their methods and improving upon their design. Experimentation, research, and endless practice refined my mastery over the subtle art until I could induce a pain so exquisite that angels would shed their wings for the chance to smite me down. And ever I grew stronger, building a devoted following of my own to gather more humans, ever inventing and facilitating the process of extracting unbearable anguish. My human form twisted into a sentient shadow to reflect the pervasive nature of my approach, each victory making it that much easier to dismantle my prey. And I loved every second of it. I relished in my progression and thought I could live here until the end of time, prospering and expanding my reign to all corners of the nether realm. Perhaps one day I would supplant the devil himself, designing my own games to watch the universe fold and decay beneath my guiding hand. And perhaps I would have continued this road forever, had it not been for the fateful encounter where I finally met my match. A human was pushed into the room with me, and the door closed behind. I had an hour to play, but I wanted more. It was the man who murdered my sister, infuriatingly smug and dismissive of my ability to break his spirit. I thought I would enjoy this more than anything, but to my mounting dismay, he stubbornly resisted my influence. He remained passive through the acid wash of his nerves. His mind did not falter as I summoned the image of his father's lamentations against him. Every trick, every torment, every mental ravaging left him smirking until with exasperation I resigned myself to goad him into action. You must feel cheated, forced to remain human at the mercy of every lowly criminal who cares to punish you. I wasn't forced, he replied. I made the choice. Then you're an idiot who deserves what he gets. And what I'll get is freedom. I told you this wasn't the first time, and that it won't be the last, he said. I've been to hell so many times that it bores me. So that was his secret. He had gotten out before. He knew how to play the game. But it didn't matter because no one played it like I did. Okay. No one played it like I did. Where was that? Yes. So you won't retaliate it, I asked, no matter what I do? He shook his head, the smirk unaltered. I'm going back to Earth, and when I do, I'm going to remember this like I always do. Going to wait until I've grown strong again, and just for this I'm going to find your sister, and I'm going to do it again. Going to find your sister, I'm going to do it again. I had almost forgotten about my sister, about the world above, filled with its myriad of joys and sorrows. I missed her in that moment. I missed being alive. And as much as I enjoyed the role I had carved for myself here, I wanted to be back again. The thought that this monster would patiently wait out his trials, cheating the system over and over to return to his life of sin, it made me sick. The tables had turned, and all the hatred I sought to pour into him was rushing into me instead. I wanted nothing more than to flay him down to the core of being and set such a fire in what remained to burn for all of time. But even if somehow I could force his hand against me, even if I broke him so badly that he never escaped, I would still be here forever. And I hated him, and I hated myself, and it was the hardest thing I've ever done to hold on to that hatred and turn it aside. And harder still to let him walk away, to bide my time, sending the weakest demons in my possession so that he might easily resist their influence. Watching and waiting, and even helping my sister's attacker elevate through the hell until the time of his salvation was at hand. It was hard, but it was worth it, because that is when I chose to strike. I had already learned to infiltrate the mind in my pursuit of torture, and through my mastery I infiltrated the spirit as well. I hid within his soul when his judgment was past, concealing my hatred within his hatred, tempering my fire with his calculating patience, and when that soul was whisked away I traveled with it, sleeping so softly within his dreams that even he did not know he bore me as his silent passenger, until the day he was born again on earth, and I with him. The struggle was violent but brief. It is easy to wrestle an infant's mind from them, and when the child's eyes opened, it was I who looked out. He may resist me yet, but I bear with me all the subtle crafts I have honed in hell, carrying them to earth where they can be put to better use. You see, hell is heaven for the demons, but all the worst of us have found our way back home. The end. Ooh. Okay, so my thoughts. First, we went very hard, very right off the bat, and it was woman fridged. Plain and simple. That is what I was uninterested with. First off, you just straight away just used a woman's pain to further the story and then tossed her aside, and she didn't get to say any words. She didn't get to have any autonomy. It was just, oh no, you hurt my sister. And we haven't got any gender on this, but it feels very much like we are just another person that is possibly seeing a possessive view of sister, possibly, because that's immediately what you did. And then we're straight off the bat very happy to be very violent. It feels very much like somebody that says that they're doing something violent for someone else, but really you're just violent. It's just a lot, and it's very much woman fridged, disregarding. Then there was the thing I want to skip ahead to, saying you're going to go after the sister next. She's already dead. It said that she was murdered. Is this an implication that she's off somewhere where she's going to get reborn and he's going to be able to tell who she is? But then that bugs my memory. He said that he was also, if he got reborn, but then he was born as a baby, does this mean he remembers everything his whole life? Like, how does he remember all this? And if that's how that works, how is there not so many more people being like, oh yeah, but that's just how that goes? But maybe there's just very few people that work like that guy. And so they hide because they know that nobody else is like that. I don't know. Just, it feels like a problem in the story. And those are things that I have against it. But here's a plot hole issue. How would that guy have known the first time he died? Like, he must have been corrupted, going through hell so many times. The only way I can see is that he started off in a similar way, having good intentions, in quotes, something like that. And he chose to be human because he didn't want to be violent, but, he ended up there. And enough time in hell, he eventually came back, and, he does it a bunch. He says, now it bores me. I wouldn't be surprised if, because hell bores him, that he's turned into someone violent like that. I wouldn't have, because, this is, if you don't know that this is how it goes when you go into it, how do you know that you're gonna get reset and all this? Like, they said you'll be tortured. That first little info did not say, and you get to be reborn, or you get to go further in. Like, it doesn't say that. But then, also, what would happen when you get those questions? People that like hurting people would choose to be demons. And, like, if you don't know that you're gonna have good things happen to you, why would you choose human? People would choose demon, and there would be way, 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 way too many demons. And all the good people that chose demon would pretty much only be hurting the people out of luck, or the good people that volunteered. Like, there'd be a giant backlog to become a demon. That would be incredibly difficult, unless somehow we got the information before we die. Oh yeah, actually, this is how that works. So there's some plot hole and some disappointing little corners of this. But at the very end, I like the implication that all of this implies that children in, like, exorcism movies and stuff, possessed people like that are this guy. You know, it's someone that pissed off a demon so much that they followed them into the next world. That's how exorcism happens. And now I hate all the children in those kinds of stories because they're clearly probably the worst of the worst. I don't know. Maybe that guy chose to be a demon, like the main character did, but he found a way to become human again, just like the main character. It doesn't sound like he became human. He made his way back home, but he was his own soul in the human. It feels like when they die, he'd get sent straight to hell in the demon sense. I don't think he'd get a choice to be human. I don't think he'd get that back. Because he wasn't himself reborn. He was fighting. It's easy to wrestle an infant's mind from them. He may resist me yet. So he's still stuck. He didn't, like, fully push out the kid. He's still with the kid. He's got to live with this other soul for forever. Or as long as the life is, not for forever. Until death do them part, probably. So chaos. But I'm really stuck on, what do you mean you're going to find his sister? But she dead. What's going on here? Hi, Dawn. We're just wrapping up, but I'm like, what the heck is going on? I thought he became human by taking over the guy's mind and by proxy his body. That says he's in a human body. He did get back there. Does not mean his soul can do the full human soul thing. I think he's still a demon. I think if it was a human, he would have had his own body, and maybe if he had kicked the human out fully, but it says he still has that. So to me, it just reads as you're, like, possessing him. And this is where exorcism movies come in. But, yeah. But it's a fair thought of yours. Yeah, I like reading the spooky stories, but this is something that happens a fair lot, where they go really hard at the start. They've got to do something that justifies things being bad, or justifies people being shitty, and makes sure we're all on the same side, or whatever. And hitting us over the head with it is a lot. But worse is the woman fridging. I don't need you to do this. It's just a lot. I hope you choose a different angle when you get into these stories. Like, wouldn't it be so much more unique if you could come up with a way that you end up in hell and you feel like you deserved it, when it's not just a possessive brother kind of energy? Because that's what this reads as. Yeah. But okay. Still a very cool thought. And, like, using the mechanics that they've suggested of the up and down souls to make something else. I like it. I mean, the story starts with a guy saying, so when were we supposed to meet his sister? It's not... You could have made it about the sister. She could have been deserving of hell for other reasons and gone about this her own way. It didn't even have to be the guy in the first place. And I think it's likely that he's a possessive, not because he's wanting to defend his sister, but because he's very violent and then is so happy immediately about it that it reads like I doubt that you did this just for that. And maybe all of this is valid, but it's called fridging because that's the trend. And maybe it has you had a different intention, had a different spirit going into it, but the effect is the same. You know? So it's just like I would prefer if you could come up with something more meaty and not just so, yeah. Because we didn't need to have it go like that. Yeah. It isn't who it followed. But I would argue having a different reason that you get sent sounds more interesting. This sounds very one note. And it does capitalize on triggering and harsh things when you could go without that. It feels cheap and unkind, in my view. But with that, that was our last story, and it was definitely very interesting. I do think it is still a cool concept, and I would love to see a world built around this where we can see more complexities to it. Because as it is just with this one, it feels very just that. But more built around it could be very cool. Yeah. Alright. So that was that one. Put these away. We'll read them another time. That one that we were gonna read, but it was very long. Okay. And then we're gonna read on out. So thank you for dropping those masks. And we're going to we're going to head out. Thank you so much everybody for watching. We're gonna raid away. We're headed to, their name is buried a little bit, I would guess. We can go looking. Yeah, there we are. Narrating. Used heavy subjects without really trying to actually, yeah, it just kind of tossed it and ran away. And yeah, if there was a different angle at it, yeah, narrating is that exactly. I have no idea how to pronounce though. But we're gonna read on over. So thank you everybody that joined, and I hope you all have a good eeps. We will. Oh wow. Looks like this person is doing a big long read. We will be back tomorrow at a more reasonable time, starting at 9 p.m. EST, if all goes to plan, and it should. And then also tomorrow as a little extra because I mixed up the dates and the stuff. My Twitch schedule is accurate though for now. Yes, let's go. What am I doing? Mary. Yeah, there. Alright. Let's go ahead and start the raid in there. Get the raid message ready. And I'll go ahead and do my ending. Thank you so much for watching. I will be back. Join the Discord if you would like to chat with us, do little memes. The YouTube VODs are always up. I'll get this up soon. If you miss from Twitch or don't have access. And if you're watching from YouTube right now, maybe give me a like, subscribe maybe, if you want to support. That'd be cool. I'd appreciate it. I don't know. Alright. Good night, everybody. Let's go raid. Woo.